Is there a motion made?
Yes.
Can you repeat that motion?
Do you want me to, or do you want to repeat it, Mr. Zelinski?
Oh, no, please, Lillian. I may want to change it once I hear what I said.
I have Mr. Zelinski making a motion to hire an architect to figure out how much it would cost for a new building.
Yeah, that's kind of choppy, but of course, we're going to look at scope of work. We're going to look, there's a lot that has to go into it, but it's a simple motion that we move forward and we ask the building committee to set up the parameters, and then we can go out for an architectural report once we have RFPs come in. Is there a second?
Second with discussion.
Second by Mr. Ogier and Mrs. O'Hara. Mr. Ogier.
I also would like to see what a full renovation would be like as well. You know, we just talked about it. We're using new numbers in 2020 than what we used in the past. To have for the next council to make an informed decision, you're going to need both sides to be able to really gauge what is the better return on investment here. Just to say what the price out of a new police station is, that's great, but that's only one side of the story. You're still going to be comparing to old numbers that obviously haven't been kept up with inflation. And so I would like to see that motion amended to include what would the cost of a full renovation be to bring it up to more state of the art in the existing building as well, just so you have an apple to apple comparison, or numbers wise, you have updated numbers to compare.
I'm asking.
Go ahead, Mrs. O'Hara.
I'm asking for that not to be included because we're going back to the same thing. It's an old building, it's inadequate, and it can't contain and do what technology demands today.
That's irresponsible to be excluding that personally. I think if you want it, we're all taxpayers of this town, and I agree that the building is unsafe and it needs attention. But all I'm asking for is to have the full transparency of what the costs are going to be to fully renovate and what the cost is to build a new police station. You know, if you come in and a new police station is $12 million, but you can make the building state of the art for $6 million, well, you're going to make the building state of the art for $6 million. You would think there is a burden here that eventually will be passed to the taxpayer. And this, I agree with Gary that this is probably going to be on the 2022 ballot, if not, who knows when. But you need the data. I work in data. You can't have one side and say, that's the way it needs to go. Otherwise, don't even get the data and just say build a new police station. It's fiscally irresponsible not to get the full renovation cost, and you will not be able to get to where you want to be in terms of an informed decision without having all sides. It shouldn't be that hard to say, yes, let's include it. What are we afraid of?
No, I agree with you that you need to get both sides of it. You need to get what is the cost to do a renovation of the building, which is what this discussion should be based on. We want input from the council, the task force does. What level of renovation do you want? You mentioned state of the art, right? I wouldn't be looking at a state of the art to do a state of the art. I would be looking to bring this building more specifically up to code, which is a big difference. If you went through there and you looked at some of the things, you look where they were processing in the BCI room, where they're processing evidence, where they're storing evidence, where they're storing weapons, it's just inadequate. And so you need to bring it up to code. Never mind, we don't need a state-of-the-art police station. We need to bring it up to code. And so my question to the people making the motion is, number one is, look at a new station and look at renovating this station, but to what level do you want that renovation to look like? Or do you want different levels of renovation? We can probably get that done. Second part of that question is, who do you want to do it? Do you want to go out with an RFP and hire somebody new? Or do you want to work with an architect that's already familiar with these buildings? That's your call. Mr. Zelinski. Mr. President, I'm comfortable with staying with it. We have to go out to bid. But the current architect is very familiar. The bid process has to take its step. I don't think, definitely there's no state-of-the-art remodel going to happen over there. I'm wondering if we're even going to be able to bring it up to standard safety features with the level of the buildings, exiting the building to come in another entrance. It's an old school. It's not a police station. I don't want to, we're not making it the J. Edgar Hoover building. We're trying to give it
a safe building for the police officers, the people that come in contact with. Okay, I'm one for consensus. If it's going to take that we look at remodeling it, but Mr. Vadney was correct in saying to what level. I'm doubtful we can get it to a standard of safety and functionality that we need, but I'm going to amend my motion. I'm going to retract my motion, and I'll amend it to say such. So I'm retracting my motion, Mr. President.
So is the motion amended or withdrawn?
It's withdrawn. I'm retracting it.
Thank you.
And then I'll make it to stay what I
There's a
just
second
said.
withdraw.
I withdraw.
You as well, Mrs. O'Hara, you both seconded.
Yeah, I was wrong.
Okay.
Mr. President, so new motion would be to look at it two ways. One, to build a new police station. Two, to look and see if the current existing conditions can be brought up to what would be considered police standards and safe and health standards. So that's my motion.
Is there a second? I'll second for discussion. You need to have.
Hang on, I'm surprised Mr. Ogier didn't want to go that way.
You need to
Halfway
have,
here.
you need to have something to compare it to. You need, because we may find, I don't think so, but we may find that renovating would be the way, you can renovate any building that you want. It's the what cost do you want to spend to renovate the building? We could go in there and take that building, believe me, we could take that building and go through it,
It's stilts.
make it a state-of-the-art palace for the police department. At what cost? You'd be surprised. That's not what we're looking to do though. So you do need to have something to look at to say, this is the cost to renovate, this is the cost to build new. You need to have that comparison. You just need to have it. It's common sense.
I was a little taken back that once I made the motion, there was no second. So
Can I, Mr. Vadney, in other words, we're gonna use the coach hill again?
I'm not saying that. I asked you folks, do you want to use the same architect or do you want to do an RFP and bring in people? There are firms out there that strictly do municipal police stations. There are firms out there that do just school buildings. They're out there all over the place. They're not just general architects. I've been satisfied with what Mark has provided for us. Do we want to get someone else looking at this? I'm not opposed to that. I'm asking the council. We're here getting direction from the council, and yeah, I sit on both seats, but I'm kind of representing the task force right now that we need direction from you folks on how you want us to proceed going forward now. Now that we've finished, or we're close to finishing the town hall, and we're going to begin the annex police station, we want clarification on what you want us to do. Mrs. Bonioli.
I would prefer to put it out to an RFP, RFQ, and just to hear from other architects. And at the same time, if anyone was interested in contacting the Center for the Public Safety, that was the name of the company when Socket was going to bring up here. And in the email that Gino and I went back and forth, apparently the cost was they were going to charge the city for the plane fare, lodging, and a rental car. I don't know if there was more to it than that, but this is their specialty, public safety complexes. It's another option. I think at the time for Woonsocket, it was running around $1,700, $1,800 to do it. But I would rather see an RFP, RFQ put out just to get some other input.
We just want direction. I think you agree with me on that we're looking for direction. We want to know what you want us to do. Am I correct? Mr. Nordstrom?
Yes, that's correct.
So if go ahead, Mrs. Zelinski. Go ahead.
Mr. President, I made a motion that we approach it from two angles. One is to see the the building of a new police station and also to take a look at it, to renovate it, to make it a safe functioning and bring it to standard police station. I'm going to make that motion again because I didn't hear a second.
No, I seconded it. That's
Oh,
what
did
the
you? I'm
discussion. I seconded
Okay.
it.
Okay.
No, I did second that motion. That's what we're discussing. The clarification I'm looking for, and I got one answer from Mrs. Bottomoli, is we want to do a separate RFP to go and see what's out there available to us.
Mhm.
Mr. Ogier.
First to Councilman Zawinski, when you said I was shocked I didn't second it, I thought you were still going to say something. It seemed a little light in terms of the motion, but I personally would like to see it open to an RFP as well. Not to say that Sakosha hasn't done a good job, but I think that, it's better to have diversity and thought in this process. And, I would like to see what else is out there and, get some more instinct and get some better insight as to what is needed.
Thank you, Ms. Doshi, for the clarification, because I did mention that we should go for our request for proposals right up front. So thank you.
So just to clarify, Ms. Scott, there's a motion and a second to go forward with an RFP seeking a firm to do a study on renovating the existing station to bring it to standards or to look at building a brand new station, correct? Any other discussion?
Gary, have anything to add to that?
No, that's a rational step forward in my mind, folks, completely.
Hearing nothing, roll call vote?
Mrs. Barnamoli,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara,
Yes.
Mr. Ogier,
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski,
Yes.
Mr. Vadney.
Yes. We'll make sure that the task force is aware of our next steps, and we will begin working on it at our next meeting.